Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. And in this episode, I'm sitting with Jessica Lutzer, fellow movie watcher and friend. We are going to be talking about the movies 40-Year-Old Virgin and 50 First Dates. Welcome, Jess.
Well, hello.
How are you today?
Warm, but I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, Mike had the same problem last time. Heat, no AC, and it's a little steamy in here, I must admit. Yes.
That's okay.
Sadly, I can't use that as a segue into our movies this week because, well, we're talking about comedy. They're in quote-unquote modern times, which was 2004, 2005. Mm-hmm. And it's just a quote-unquote laugh riot. I don't know. Don't quote me on posters or anything. It's fine. I guess we'll start with 40-Year-Old Virgin, which, of course, 2005, Judd Apatow, Steve Carell. You know, what'd you think?
I absolutely loved it. I loved it back then. It'd been a decade since I seen it.
Yeah.
And I watched it on Sunday. And I thought it held up well.
That's the thing I like about most comedies. If they're not too specifically topical, like they're not like politically driven or, you know, something of a specific time, they age super well as long as they're just flat out funny, you know?
And this one was.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I remember when I first watched this movie, I laughed throughout the whole thing. I think I missed half the movie and had to rewatch it and stuff like that. And the funny thing is that my mother, who is a very proper lady, who doesn't like swearing, she doesn't like an excessive amount of sex or anything, comes home like a week and a half after this movie comes out and says, I went to the movies, guess what I watched? And I was like, oh my God, what? 40-Year-Old Virgin? And I almost died.
Really? See, I actually saw this movie with my mother.
Oh my God.
And I think I was 17 or 18. I'd have to do the math on that, but my mom loves this type of humor. So
really?
I grew up watching films like this and different.
Yeah, my sense of humor is quite different from my mother's.
Yeah. And this would be an awkward one to watch if your mother or anybody was not into overt sexuality.
Or swearing.
Yeah.
They swear so much in this movie.
They're very creative, too.
Oh, yeah. And they come up with, there's even some points in time where they come up with terms that there's no swearing in it, but even you're just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. You're like, how did you even, what does that mean? Where did you come up with that? Yeah.
Yes.
No, I know. It was really funny rewatching it. And I was like, especially like it's like a decade later for me. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think both of the movies we're talking about I hadn't seen because I don't have cable, and if I didn't set out to see them, I wasn't gonna catch them. So
I find they're the kind of movies that you know are funny and they're there, but you'd never. It's not on your list of things to actively watch. You know, like some people have like mood movies. Like if I'm sad to make myself happy, I tend to watch animated films. You know,
exactly.
If I want to feel hyper, I go look for certain action movies. But like I wouldn't actively go out and look for these movies, but when I watch them, I'm happy I watched them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I was like, oh, I should pull Judd Apatow movies out more often.
Yeah.
Because I don't actively seek his stuff out, but I always come away in a happier mood. Most of them, not all of them, but
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because like even with like what is it, Spanglish and Funny People and stuff, they're not comedies. They're literally situation, like they have these people in these situations that are relatively serious or relatively sad, but there's still so much humor in it. And I think half the time it's just that general awkward humor, like I know what he's talking about, compared to like that guy fell down and you should laugh at him now, right?
Well, he's good at making awkward funny.
Yes.
Because in this movie, Andy
is so awkward,
but he's endearing.
Yes. Yeah.
They could have went a really different way, and I actually read online after watching it that at first he was going to play it a little more creepy, But then they decided not to, and that's where the jokes about him being a serial killer came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, at first he was going to take it that route, and
Yeah.
then they thought that's too much and no one's going to relate to that.
Yeah.
So then they took it more of the endearing, awkward nerd.
Mm-hmm. Compared to, like, the creepy, slimy guy who's by himself for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things I like about this movie is the fact that, like, when you first meet Andy, you're just like, oh my god, what a dork, you know, as he goes through his apartment with his giant erection, and you just see his toys and his walls, and he bikes to work, and his breakfast that he makes for himself that's so fancy, and
you know he's the kind of guy, his shirt is tucked in perfect, his phone is on his belt, and his hair is parted perfectly.
Yeah, he just seems so, below average is not the word I really should say, but average is also not the word, but he's just seems uninteresting, really. Mm-hmm. But, like, the way they progressed the story made it so that he was so, a little bit above average, like, so, like, he's regular, he's normal, and he has interesting aspects of his life. But even within the movies, his friends are like, no, hide all the things that make you interesting. And that's the part that creeps out the girl when he brings her home, you know?
Well, and I think in the beginning, he's kind of acting how he thinks an adult should act.
Yes.
He eats a great diet, he exercises, you know, he rides his bike, he goes to his job every day, and when he comes home, he has his interests. But in actuality, he's just hiding. Yeah. I felt like hiding who he is, and his friends or his coworkers in the beginning just want him to keep hiding that, to try to. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. He, like, when they have the poker game and it's revealed to them, and they go over to his place and they just make fun of him, you understand why he was hiding all of that stuff in the first place, right? Of course. Then, of course, as soon as the guys understand him and get to know him, they're like, this stuff is great, let's play video games, you know, let's look at your Asia poster, let's look at your action figures. And he's like, oh, I didn't really have to hide, I just have to let it out, and then people get over it, you know, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's not just the fact that he gets a girlfriend and he, you know, gets laid at the end of the movie. It's the fact that he actually opens up to other people and stops pretending to be the person he's supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And trying to hide who he really is.
Yeah.
Which is what has blocked him from connecting with someone on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And then, obviously,
it's
having a physical relationship.
It's the mask of normalcy, right? People who are too normal are weird. Okay? Just be weird, and people are like, oh, okay. Like, and they get over it. That's the proper way to do it. Because, I mean, you get introduced to his friends, and his friends are messed up.
The whole way through, I'm thinking, do not listen to these losers. And they're all losers for different reasons. But, like, they're real guys. They're real people. Yes. But you're sitting there, I'm like, please don't take his advice. Don't take his advice, and don't take his advice.
And the worst part is that everybody has a friend in one of the categories who's the womanizer, who's obsessed with, who's in love with the one girl, but sleeps around and gives the worst advice. Or that there's the guy who's the perpetually single, but hooks up every other day or every weekend, you know? And then there's the guy who's, like, married and depressed, and he's like, I want to live vicariously through you people. And you're just like, okay, you guys, I've met all of you. You're all nobody I want to listen to. Exactly. Like, you're not people I should take advice from. Right?
Though I really love the scene with the porn and how he just couldn't. I thought it was actually really cute. Like, he gets in bed and he puts and then he ends up watching Everyone Loves Raymond. I just laughed. I was just like, that's actually the funniest thing I've ever seen. Please don't touch that box. That's what I was thinking. I was like, don't touch that box.
Yes, Raymond comes on screen. He's like, I'm done. But I guess that kind of goes back to the, you know how I know you're gay scene, which I think is hilarious. I'm sorry, you macrameed some shorts? Oh god, it's so good.
Bad image in my mind.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just like every single one like tops the one that they say before, and you're just like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I wonder how. I know there's like full like clips of outtakes from that scene.
Oh, is there?
And yeah, and they're like 6 and 7 minutes long. I don't even understand how they kept a straight face half the time doing it. They're playing video game. I don't know. I hear like a line and a half and I just start laughing.
That set must have been hilarious.
Yes.
For sure many of those lines were not in the script.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, even with like Jane Lynch, like her.
I love Jane Lynch. Who doesn't love Jane Lynch? She has the best deadpan, like her voice and the look on her face. I love Jane Lynch. She's fantastic.
And when she starts singing the song her lover sang to her. Oh my god. Yeah, and actually, one of the things I realized watching this movie that there's a lot of cameos in it.
Yes.
Yeah. And also it has cameos of like those people that you see in everything, but you have no idea what their name is as well. Mm-hmm. So like a couple of the cameos, for example, Kevin Hart, which I totally forgot was in there.
I didn't even.
Well, I guess because it would have been 10 years ago, would have been before he was like famous.
People didn't know. I think he's really blossomed the last couple of years. 5 years.
Exactly, so. Yeah. And I was like, he came on, I was like, oh my god, Kevin Hart's in this movie. What? Then of course Jonah Hill with the shoes.
Yes. Do you know after the last scene, the dancing scene, he fainted and had to go to the hospital from heat stroke?
What?
Yeah. Apparently he was dancing so crazy with the Aquarius song that he like passed out because it was apparently a super hot day.
Oh my god.
Today, and they had to take him to the hospital.
Please don't pass out.
No, I promise.
Then there was like Mindy Kaling as Amy shows up in there.
See, that surprised me because I knew she was in it, but then I forgot, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because she's in it for literally 2 seconds. Yeah. They talk about he talks about her the whole movie, but you actually only see her for those 2 seconds. And I don't know if I'm a horrible person, or maybe it's the type of name that's related to it, or stereotypes, or what. Or maybe this was purposefully done because you have to be like, that's Amy, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was like, as soon as you see
who you were envisioning.
Not at all. But then you also find out it was like a month-long relationship, and he's still going on about it like 4 years later, and he's obsessed. You know, he's just kind of crazy as well.
Well, I mean, they all are.
They all, yes, yeah. They all are.
Different special ways. They're all unicorns.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. It's a month, and then you see her, and you're just like, you're right. I don't know if I pictured who Amy was, but yeah. Probably not Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, well, I mean, in movies, like, especially in comedies and movies like that, it's always some, like, movie star type or, like, some supermodel kind of girl that will not give them the time of day. So I'm expecting, tall and skinny with big boobs and long flowing hair. And every time she walks into the room, the breeze starts to blow and her hair's in the wind, But that's what, like most comedies, that's what... the girl that they're after is like.
And Mindy is like every woman. She
like,
is the epitome of.
And I think that was the problem. It's she was too normal for what you were expecting it to be.
So they don't do that in films. They really don't. You don't tend to see people who look like you or who are regular people. It's always Hollywood people who are paid to look good and. Yeah.
Or even like within it, like they do stuff to them so they like look overdone, like, or maybe like she might be the every woman, but today she's in a leather dress and she has like whips for some reason. No, she was in like jeans and a t-shirt and she combed her hair that day. It was fine.
Nothing like a lunchtime speed date.
You don't want, what is it? Data-palooza, I think it was.
I think so. Can I just say the shirt they put Andy in was horrifying? It looked like an old sofa from the 70s. That's the first thing I saw. When I saw that scene, I was like, why did they do that?
But didn't they pick it out of the, like, Lost and Found or something? Yeah. Something random like awful. That's been there since the 70s for some reason?
It's hideous. I don't know what they were thinking.
But that's also part of it that made it even funnier, right? It's just that he looks awkward, the shirt's hideous, these women are just like, oh my god, you're horrible. And it just kind of went on from there. I think because they managed to make him so endearing and the people around him so ridiculous, it just was a good juxtaposition between the two that you end up just liking everybody. He made them a little nicer,
Yes.
And they made him a little bit more outgoing and
able to get out there.
And actually like do stuff, you know.
Take a chance. Which
he
had never
he
done
wasn't
before.
doing. And then of course you have like Elizabeth Banks that shows up, you know, with the tub. And what is it? Leslie Mann as well.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I just no. The Pepto-Bismol that came out of her mouth, like no, it's like weird pink. Yeah, the daiquiri. I guess the daiquiri. Oh, and the fact that he called her on that, I was like, no, you can't taste that. That's awful. I could just. That's just.
Yeah. I think just about everybody who watches that movie at that scene is just like, oh my God, oh no.
I don't know about you, but I've never been thrown up on.
Yeah.
And so
you're very
I was just
lucky.
Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
I've been beside someone, but no one has ever actually puked on me, which is fantastic.
I've been pooped on and thrown up on. So, but at least the poop was a baby, so they get away with it a little bit. But
and it's still poop, but you're right. Yeah, it's not quite as gross as if you get adult poop.
Yeah, like if some like a friend of mine comes over and sits near me and just poops, that just no, that's not acceptable. But you hand me a baby that happens, I'm like, ew, it's a baby. It's fine. Fine, and lots of quotation marks around fine. Yes. I'm still traumatized of it, obviously. It happened a while ago, but the trauma's still there. The trauma is definitely still there. Who else was in there? Oh yeah, and in the dating scene, you had people like Mo Collins, Gillian Vigman, Nancy Carell was in there.
Someone was from MTV. Oh, not MTV, Mad TV.
Mad TV?
Is she from SNL? She was the
SNL, Mo Collins.
Lesbian or
yes.
Mo Collins, okay.
Yeah, she was there.
I instantly recognized her. I was like, that's...
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. All of these people, I had to look up all of their names because I recognize them from lots of movies and lots of little roles and all that kind of stuff, but I have no idea what any of their names are. Yeah. And I actually feel bad, like... Actually, no, it's probably really good for their career. They have constant work. They're not followed around by paparazzi and crazy fans or anything. But they're making good money, right?
There are some people who just want to be working actors or working comedians. They have no desire to become uber famous.
Yeah, because I would hate to be like hate is a strong word, but like Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt or something. Like,
awful.
I want to have like a life. I want to be able to go out and do things, you know? Whereas every 2 seconds, they're so in the limelight of things that it's hard for them to just get away and relax and, you know.
I couldn't imagine not being able to go to the grocery store without people following you or people surrounding your car is terrifying, too. Today I just watched the video of some paparazzi. I don't know who was in the car, but it was a very fancy car in LA, and the paparazzi was literally in front of it, running backwards so that he could take a picture of the front driver, and I'm just like, this is how they accidentally run them over because they just won't get out of their way. It's horrifying to me. It's suffocating too. It's
scary. Whereas these people don't have that issue and they're in lots of movies. They still get to make all the famous people. They probably all have nice houses.
Oh, I'm sure.
I want that life. That life seems pretty good to me. Yes. One thing that kind of bothered me about the movie though is as a person who is kind of a nerd, and who collects things and has stuff, it really bothered me in the movie when his girlfriend, Trish, Catherine Keener, was like, why don't you sell your stuff, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I understand a lot of people think if you have toys or if you have your collections of things, you're a child and have to grow up. Get rid of it and then you'll be an adult.
Yes.
Why is that necessary? Like, I never understood why that's necessary.
It's not. But I guess it depends on why he was collecting them and why he was keeping them. And maybe they wanted to portray that him getting rid of was him letting go. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Well, because even in the movie it's at the end of the movie when this is happening, and he was just like, no, I don't want to actually sell my stuff. Yes, I want to have a girlfriend. Yes, I want to get laid, but I don't want to sell my stuff. Why are you making me do this? Because I think it's more than just like I know, yes, some people use it as a crutch. Some people use it as something to fill the void. But some of these things have sentimental value. Like, because he was even saying some of the toys was given to him by family members, and he bought things in certain places, and he's like, I went to that concert, that's why I have it. So there's sentimental value. And she's just like, I have an eBay store, which even in the movie is stupid.
I know.
But you should sell it because you can make money, but maybe money isn't what he wants.
Exactly.
You know? But that's like, I'm going to be super stereotypical, and I'm allowed to do this because I'm a woman. That's like a woman being told, no, to be an adult, you have to sell all your shoes.
Yeah.
You know? Women are going to be like, I'm going to keep all of my damn shoes. What is wrong with you? You know,
all the shoes, yeah.
It's the same thing.
And then, kind of the same thing.
You know, people have shoe collections of like 50, 60 shoes. They wear 3 of them. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with the rest of them? You can sell them, get rid of them, all that kind of stuff. Like sneakerheads, for example, they'll buy like $2,000 Jordans from like 1982 that they'll never wear. It's just to look at. It's the same
A collectible's a collectible.
A collectible's a collectible, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't think of this, but yeah, you're right. I don't see why he needed
to get rid of it.
I'm wondering if it was just to visually show his transition, at least as far as the movie goes. I don't know. Or they just did it because...
I don't know. Well, I think maybe it was supposed to show his, like... I don't think it's his transition, but his want to be himself while moving forward at the same time, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that he's able to be himself without having the collectibles. Like, he's comfortable in his own skin, and he doesn't need to... I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know. But that was one thing that always...
But he made a lot of money
on them. Yeah, he made quite a bit of money, which is good. Like, I think the thing is that scene specifically, I connected with that scene.
Because, you know, you do have...
Yes.
Quite the...
collection.
You know what, I would probably... I used to have a very large... It's at my parents' house. It's a living dead doll collection. Mm-hmm. I have quite the collection that my mother keeps telling me to either bring to Toronto or she's going to sell them on her own, which she doesn't know how to do. So that's not a threat.
It's not a threat,
But she wants my nephew to be able to sleep over in my room, and at this point he won't because the little coffins of zombie dolls. And one day he came to me, Auntie Jessica, why are they so scary? And I was like...
Because that's how they're supposed to be.
I was like, that's their purpose. I didn't want to, like, scare him for life. I would have said, like, and they're awake at night. But I didn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, they watch you while you sleep.
What a horrible aunt I would be.
No, best aunt ever.
I know.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
So
kid will have nightmares till he's like 40. It's great. Yeah.
So I would definitely have more collectibles if I had the space or the money, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, my collection. This is not my whole collection, by the way. No.
Where do you store the rest of it?
Like you, I have a mother who has an extra room that has the rest of my collection. But it has definitely slowed down accumulation because of money and space, for sure. But I have a horrible habit of going to at least Fan Expo every year and picking up 1 or 2 things.
I've actually, so my roommate, Alex, she's the one that actually, I would totally have the Harry Potter pop vinyl, but she brought them all from work. And now they're in the living room, so now I don't have to buy them. Though if we ever go our separate ways, I might have to. I'm getting attached to some of them, and I also have the villains from Doctor Who, but again, I don't have enough space. I would love to add the Doctors to my pop vinyl collection, but I don't have the space. So.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand. Like, there are definitely collections I would like to have, but I will not buy them simply because there will be too many of them. I can't.
You can't enjoy them too. And as I get older, I'm realizing it's like, I really want things in my space that I enjoy. And like Andy in the films, like, when there's so much and stuff you can't see, like, how can you enjoy it?
Well, I mean, personally, I think he had his space. First of all, his apartment for himself was solid, okay?
Would he have that if it wasn't a movie?
Oh, no. There's no way.
I hate that in television.
He works in an electronics store. He's not making that much money.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure not.
You know? He's got this huge living room, dining room area, this gorgeous bedroom. you know, and he lives where? It's LA, I think they're in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That
and
would never.
No, that's
it's like the Friends.
Yeah.
The apartment Rachel and Monica have in Friends. That would be millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
like, they have a 3-bedroom apartment at the side of a building that has this massive, beautiful window. You know, across the street is the couple of guys they like to talk to on a regular basis. I'm like, there's no way anybody's affording any of these things. You know, it's, one works in a coffee shop, one's a chef, and what was the other one?
Chandler Bing works in a office building. We never find out really what he does. I think he's like an analyst or something. And then Joey's like a semi-successful, then not successful actor.
Yeah.
Ross is he's a doctor. He's a PhD. He's the only one making. I don't even think he could afford that.
Yeah.
Even as a PhD working in New York, there's no way.
There's no way.
Unrealistic expectations. That's what it creates for young, impressionable people.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you watch shows on TV, and you have, like, people who just got out of school and got an apartment with their friends, and it's this beautiful space with, like, 35 bedrooms. Each person has their own bathroom and all this kind of stuff, and I'm just like,
not in any major city.
No. Are you living in the country? Okay, fine. But in, like, downtown Toronto, New York, LA, you know, Dallas, I don't even care. You're not getting those spaces for the kind of money you're going to be making. No. Not at all. I think it's nuts.
Yes, he has a lovely apartment. Makes me angry. I want that apartment. No. Then I'll have room for my collectibles.
Exactly. Oh, my goal, 2-bedroom apartment, 1 room for the collectibles, 1 room for me, and I still got a living room. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be great.
One day, Tracy.
One of these days. Yes. Also, why do you think they actually picked Age of Aquarius for the end of that movie?
I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm used to it now or something. I find it very weird, but at the same time, I find it just fits within the movie.
It's unexpected. You're like, what?
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's a funny scene. It was a chance for them to you know, have fun and
run around and continue to be silly and ridiculous. And so, I'm sorry, but Paul Rudd is
fantastic.
I don't understand that guy. Like, he doesn't age. He's just
he
ridiculous.
Looks the same. I was like, are you kidding me? Because he was just in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like, other than like 20 pounds, which he's fitter now than he was then.
Yeah.
I was like, how you don't age?
He doesn't. And it's nauseating.
I know.
You're just like, what is? Oh my god.
Like but then it was so funny rewatching it, and I looked at Steve Carell, and I was like, oh my god, he was so young, but he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Apparently, he lost a lot of weight for that role.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Another cameo. His wife.
Yes.
The counselor.
I said
Did you say
Nancy
her?
Carell.
I'm so bad with names.
No,
yes.
It's okay. No,
I loved it.
I had to look it up. I didn't know she was his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's got the same last name. Click. And like, that's his wife.
I know,
and I was
because
like, okay.
She
was on The Office as well.
She was on The Office. And wasn't she one of the Comedy Central shows? I've seen her several times. All of them. Yeah. They're just like...
They just show up together in places and movies and stuff. But that's like Leslie Mann and Judd Apatow. They're husband and wife, and they do everything together.
Everything. I mean, she's amazing. She deserves it. But, like, yeah, she's in everything even small parts.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if she was my wife, I would cast her in everything as
well. Because I find she actually has, like, a really good acting range in general. Like, I think she does slapstick really well. I think she does really good deadpan, like, comedy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then she can do the serious role. She can do the, I'm gonna cry right now because I'm sad, you know, and you're just like, I'm gonna cry with you too, you know.
She's very likable. They all were for the most part. There was no one, I'm trying to think.
That you're just like, you're a horrible person.
Well, no. As far as like most of the actors, who was the older coworker who kept arguing? What is his name?
Oh god, I'd actually have to look up that one.
And they did that like exchange, him and the guy. He was the one guy from the group, the black guy. What was his name? Like he was the one I could never remember.
Romany Malco.
And maybe that's Romany Malco. Okay.
Yes.
That exchange was hilarious. I was just like, this little guy is a fire pistol. I love him.
That's the first movie I remember seeing him in.
He's in stuff.
Oh, since then.
He just appears in things, and you're like, I don't know who you are, but you're hilarious.
You're hilarious, exactly. Yeah, he just likes to just show up in places, and it's fine, you know. And then Kat Denning, this was the first movie I saw her in. She's the daughter.
Yes.
And one thing I've realized about her is that it's not that I dislike her. Like, I like her. I think she's fine. But she has the same problem Michael Cera has, where they're exactly the same person, the same role all the time.
And she never really changes her look. She always kind of looks the same, even though she was playing a teenager here, and she could have been one. I don't know. It was like over 10 years ago. But you're right. In Two Broke Girls, she has that same kind of attitude.
Yeah. And I don't know what else even in the Thor movies, she's the assistant.
That's right. Still same that thing. Little sassy.
What is it? What's that playlist movie? There's Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Oh. She's in that one as well with Michael Cera, actually.
You're right. Yes. He is the same in everything.
He's the same in everything, and that's my problem with her as well. Is that at first I'm like, I like you, you're fun, and like the Thor movies, I like you, you're fun.
She's a good actress, but she definitely has a type, and she plays it, and I have yet to see her outside of that.
Yeah, and my problem is I'm at the point where I'm like, are you acting or just being yourself right now? Yeah.
Which it could be.
And which is fine, but I'm kind of getting bored.
Maybe she just knows her range and she just sticks within it because...
Yeah, because if she goes out and tries to be like overly dramatic or something and you're just like, no.
And maybe she's been in something smaller that we wouldn't...
necessarily.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's totally possible. Yeah, I get that.
But she made a great, like, teenage daughter, the screaming, the cry scene.
Mm-hmm. The slight awkwardness and overconfidence at another point in time, you know.
I mean, that's teenage girl.
Yeah, it's mood swings and throwing things and crying and being too happy or too sad. And...
Yeah, but I really like that, you know, once she found out he was a virgin, she was really on his side.
Yes.
So, like, she could have been like, oh, he's the new boyfriend and this is my perfect way to
destroy
get rid of him. But she truly, really liked him. And, like, most of the people in the film truly liked his character.
Yeah,
and
I think
that's... he was pathetic or not, they still really liked him.
Yeah, well, even, like, his upstairs neighbors were like, they're like, we're nice to you because you're a pathetic loser and you're alone all the time. But at the same time, they were always really nice to him, so... Yeah. You know, because there's sometimes you see a pathetic loser and you're just like, you're just a dick. Like, what is the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, but people went out of their way to be nice to him. Yeah. It was fine, you know. So.
And he wasn't turning anybody into a lampshade, so it's fantastic.
Which is always better.
It's actually something I've been saying recently, like, oh, don't go there, you might be turned into a lampshade. I don't know, I didn't get it from this. I heard it somewhere else. I don't know where.
Oh, God,
it's
okay.
Like the serial killer thing, they're going to turn you into your skin into a lampshade or something.
No, they're supposed to make a skin suit out of it so you can pretend to be different people every day.
It's really gross.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Men in Black. The bug alien.
Oh yes, yeah, and he just the
actor?
Yeah, the something he
calls
SVU. It's Vincent D'Onofrio. I know that.
Fantastic, because he was in Marvel TV show. Oh my god, I'm blanking. He was
Daredevil.
Yes,
he's Kingpin. Yeah,
he's really good at being creepy.
He is. But he's also for example, he played Thor in Adventures in Babysitting. Like, you see him randomly and things like that, and you're just like, ha ha ha, that's funny. But yeah, like, as he got older, he just kind of got meaner in his roles that he was picking, I find. Because when he was younger, he was sometimes a savior. Actually, no, that's a lie, because he did The Cell pretty, early in his career.
He was in The Cell.
Yeah, yes. He was, but he had, mental issues. And according to, the version of him inside the mind was creepier than the version of him outside of the mind, I find.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
Yeah.
But... Oh, you got it.
Yeah, it's there. It's going to happen. I'm going to creep myself out and laugh at the two Vinces in it. So it'd be great.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn's in it, too. That's when he was a serious actor, not just comedy.
I really like that he can do both.
Yes. But he hasn't done either well in a while. No. Yeah, which is sad.
I can't think of the last thing I've seen him in, I'm going to be honest.
I think the last thing I saw him in was that Google intern movie. I think it was called The Intern. Yeah, there's no need.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'll never come upon it, so.
It's good to go. I know, do you want to skip over to 50 First Dates, you know?
We can.
Oh, hold on. She rolled her eyes, people. So this is going to be interesting.
Wait, can I mention one more thing about the waxing scene?
Oh, you didn't like the skeleton?
No, I loved it. What I really was watching throughout the whole scene was everyone else's reaction because it was real.
Yes, I read that.
You're watching like Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd lose their shit. Like they're trying to maintain character and be horrified as most people would in that scenario, but you can tell their laughter and the looks on their face. It's just
it has to be real.
Yeah, like it was just it very much was. And
well, the thing is, I find funny is the fact that Steve Carell managed to actually yell funny things and didn't just like funny. Curl up in a ball and cry.
I would never do that. I have experienced waxing.
Yes.
And I am nowhere near as hairy as he is. I would never do that. I'm like, if you look, I'm sure his back was just as hairy. That looked awful to me.
Yeah. The worst part too is when he has his shirt on and he's going home, and you can see the like stipples of blood through the shirt
to wear for waxing.
Oh. Well, he doesn't know. He's never done it before.
I mean, he had to. Come on. You know his wife or, like, a female friend or a cast was like, dude. I mean, he's like, I'm going to do it for comedy, but, like, take some meds first because that's going to be painful.
Yes.
And the technician, I think she had to be a real technician because the look on her face was just like...
Because she was cringing as well. She's like... First she was evil. She's like, ha! And then even she was just like, oh, that was a bad one. She's kind of cringing a little bit at it.
Yeah, unless she wasn't a real and someone was off screen kind of coaching her how to do it. But I wouldn't let some stranger near me with, like...
Or maybe what they did was they had somebody rip it off and then they shot, like, an actor or something. Yeah.
Anyway, I just had to mention that. It's still my favorite scene. It's the one thing I remember from this. Well, and the last scene when he finally has sex. It just keeps going.
What? No, the first part is, it's like a minute and a half and it's done and she's really unsatisfied and she's just like, okay. And he's all sweaty and then he's like, want to go again? And he's like, yeah. And then it's like half an hour or whatever to get it on. He's got a lot of pent-up energy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we can move on to 51st Dates.
So, 51st Dates, you rolled your eyes when I said it.
Yes.
Go.
I remember this movie. I was a teenager. Was it 2004?
Yes, you are correct.
I was still in high school. And I loved it.
Okay.
I thought it was really fun. I love Drew Barrymore. Adam Sandler, it depends on the role. I can take him or leave him. Sometimes. I don't know if I'm just, now that I'm in my 30s, maybe I'm more woke, as the children say. But some things just disturbed me. And I was like, I don't think this holds up as well. I don't think the humor was as timeless as they...
I actually think the humor within it is funny, but it's the actual underlining story. As you understand it more, it's horrifying.
I work with vulnerable people in my job, and watching that, I was just like, and because high school Jessica loved it. I thought it was funny. It was cute, and there was a penguin, and I loved it. And the seals. But as adult Jessica, I'm just like, a lot of things bother me. Not the interaction between Drew Barrymore and us. Like, it was funny. It was cute. It brought you back to the wedding singer. I think that was what they were banking on. Because I'm surprised any studio. Well, in today, I don't think that would
have been made. No,
not. Okay. I mean, what's his name as a native Hawaiian? It's the most offensive thing I've ever seen. I don't think I'm being too Schnider. Rob Schneider's offensive in general, but I was like, oh, that's so bad. That is really bad. And then his wife, I'm like, oh, well, she's this typical, like, overweight, moo-moo wearing Hawaiian that were...
Well, that's the thing I find with especially with comedies, you get away with things like that a lot easier than if it was like a serious film and a big actor and all that kind of stuff. I am not saying it's not stereotypical. I'm not giving it like a okay or anything.
No.
All I'm saying is that I understand why he was allowed to get away with it.
He wouldn't now.
You don't think so?
No. What's going on right now with like the Me Too and like what's his name? Trevor Noah just had to apologize for a joke he made about an Aboriginal woman back in like 2005 and the whole thing with Gunn being fired for tweets. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying his tweets are okay or not. Go look them up. They're pretty horrifying. But I don't think any studio would right now. 6 months ago?
Maybe.
They would have changed a few things for sure, just because they know the social justice warriors and like it would upset.
Are out there.
Yeah. For
well,
sure.
And I think too
even
is
Moana upset people.
Moana, why?
Moana because it depicted The Rock Johnson, who he was the god.
He was the god, yeah.
Apparently, people were offended. There's always people who are offended.
Yeah, you can't please anybody.
They were offended that he was stereotypical, big, and yeah.
But isn't he? I don't know. You know what?
No, I don't know. Apparently,
know.
the god, it does not look like that in their depiction. So when Disney depicted it, how it was Disney.
It was Disney. Yeah, I think
she's a princess, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying that right now, I don't think that would
have fly.
No.
I actually think they would have done a lot of tweaking to that story for it to get away with stuff automatically.
Yeah.
Because you're taking advantage of a person who's got a mental disability.
She's legit brain damage.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with Adam Sandler. I have a problem with all the people surrounding her, just like letting her, like the father and the brother. Now, admittedly, throughout the movie, they realize that they're doing an injustice. Yeah, that you can't hide that from her. That's not. And every time she discovers her real self, she's horrified, and it's like a day she cries and stuff, and it's like, you could do this in such a better way to minimize trauma. And she could be at the hospital in clinic trying to repair her memory. Yeah.
And that's what they ended up doing close to the end of the movie.
I will give the brother and the brother, oh my God. God love him. God love him. And I just like, you can't see the mesh top in the back. I'm just like, oh my God. Every time he came on the screen, just like.
Yeah, it's the one time Sean Astin did humor incredibly well.
He did.
He's did fantastic. It really well, yes.
I mean, Rudy. I mean, God love him. I do very much like him. I like all the actors. For that, you're right. Just the overarching storyline. You're just like, so he meets this girl, he finds out she has brain damage or a disability, and then he begins to stalk her. Yeah. That's essentially what he does.
Yeah, well, actually, the one of the things that I actually find very odd about the movie is the fact that it is clear that he goes to that restaurant on a regular basis, right? Because the cook and the woman who runs the place knows him when he goes in there. She apparently goes in there every day at the same time every single day, and they have never met.
He had ever met them.
I think, based on the interaction, I thought he had.
Oh, I thought, no, it was the first time because where his boat was, like, stuck and he had to go in, that was the closest restaurant to the harbor where he was waiting. I don't know. I didn't pick up on that because...
I don't know. Like, even from their first interactions when he walked in, I find there seemed to be a familiarity between those three characters.
Yeah, so if that's the case...
Yeah. And I know,
how
like,
did he never meet her?
I know, yeah, and, like, I know that familiarity increased, because he kept coming back. So by the end of it, like, they were all friends and, talking, making jokes and all that kind of stuff. That part I understood. But I find, like, even though they weren't chummy when he came in, they seem to have known he belonged there. Like, he was local, he was, that kind of thing, Oh, maybe I was misreading it, but...
You brought up local, and this also brings up a part that I rolled my eyes at. This lovely, friendly man who just lies to every woman to get all these tourists. So he finds a tourist, he lies to her about his profession, sleeps with her, then does these elaborate things to get rid of her, even though she's a tourist and she's gonna leave.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he finds the right woman. Not like he doesn't have to change, but he's found the right woman.
So everything's fine.
Yeah.
And but the funny thing is that even though he found the right woman, he technically does exactly the same thing he does every day with whatever random woman that he would have done stuff with before.
We're supposed to love this vet. He's friendly and I actually quite like the character, and I actually like Adam Sandler in this movie. I don't always, but when I saw that, I was just like, this time around. The first time around, I didn't pick up on that, but this time around, I'm just like, what an asshole.
Yeah.
What a complete asshole.
But the thing is that he did to get around all of that was he was buying them mocktails. There was no alcohol in their stuff.
I'm not saying he preyed on drunk women. I'm just saying, like, you essentially lied to these women to get them into bed, sleep in them, and then lie to get... It's like, you're just a typical womanizer. Yeah. You're not any better.
But the whole thing is that he made it a point that he's like, you're not drunk, that has no alcohol in it, you are not going crazy or wild this evening. And, like, they made it a point to make sure that that he comes off as a quote-unquote better person.
I know.
Because he's not taking care of
I know what
people.
they were... Yeah,
but
I
still think it's really, it's mean. It's not nice to be doing that. And people like a little fun on their vacation.
And these women are adults, and I'm not saying he was like preying on weak women. I was just like, dude, you have to say you're a spy? Why don't you just be like, I'm a local, you're a tourist, you're here, let's have some fun, you go home back to your life.
And that's the thing. If you go on, if you go into the Caribbean and stuff and go to some of those resorts and whatever, that's pretty much what they do. I'd
rather you be honest just about, like, and you're a local and you know I'm a tourist. This isn't... Yeah. But instead, I guess they use that as a fun way for him to make up alias.
Or something.
Or whatever.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm a secret agent. Oh, my watch is talking and I have to go. It's like, also, how naive. I'm like, how can you believe this? I was like, I think they
I think the whole point is they want to believe it.
Of course, they want to have this fairy tale
adventure while they're on their vacation. And you're like, oh my God, I met a spy while I was in Hawaii. And, oh, he's gone away to stop the Russians, you know?
And you know anybody back at home's like,
what?
I don't think so, but
tell you the truth, he had a cool job. Like, he was with the animals at the aquarium and stuff. I mean, I think that's pretty sweet.
Yes.
I like. He was friends with that, what is it, walrus? High five it. It's great.
Yes. Don't watch Blackfish.
No, I know about Blackfish. Don't worry, I don't want to watch that either.
But
yes.
I mean, it's and the one Alexa, his coworker.
Oh yes.
That's definitely a 2004
horribleness.
Well, transphobic. Like what the jokes at their I don't know who Alexa was, what Alexa was, but it was clearly
it's
as a stereotype to make fun of. Yeah.
But luckily that is changing now, where those people aren't the butt of the joke, which is great.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I should have looked up this person's name, but the person playing them did a deadpan job of it, and I probably shouldn't laugh, but I did a couple of times.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, in the end, when Alexa ends up with
the brother?
The brother,
yeah.
The brother.
Just the brother, it's fine.
Actually kind of fantastic, because you're just like, oh, he just,
Well, but that's the thing.
They
see through things, and they just need love, and they found it in each other, and it's all good. Yeah. But, I just...
Oh, sorry, the end?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, was she pregnant, or she already had a kid and she was pregnant? I don't remember.
She already had a kid.
Could you imagine waking up on a boat in the middle of, the Arctic Ocean?
No. I'm sorry, she was way too calm.
And put a videotape in. Well, exactly, because she has no recollection. It's not even like she has a feeling that, where am I? She's nothing. And you put this film in and you, see that you've met this man, you've gotten married, you've birthed a child, and now you're on a boat in the middle of the sea. Yes, your dad's there. Yeah. But
I would still be losing my... imagine waking up while she was pregnant.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Horrifying. That is actually horrifying.
Yeah.
And that's the story, the horror, the writers, whatever you were thinking. I was like, that's horrific.
She was way too calm. I'm sorry.
I would have spent the most of the day freaking out.
Yeah. And then, calm down, whatever. But the thing is, it shows that at some point in time, he talked her after meeting for one day, quote unquote.
Yeah.
They had sex with each other.
Yes.
And then they had a kid together. And she has no recollection of their relationship.
No.
And every day you have to remind her, hey, this is your kid, and I'm your maybe husband at that point, or still boyfriend, I don't know.
No, they got married, because the videotape she plays...
Oh, they got married,
the best friend married them.
But you know somebody for a day and then you get married?
No. I know.
But even the fact that they do they talk about it when they're in the hospital or whatever, she's like, I don't know who you are, but I have a vision of this person. Because remember she has that room with the painting with the eggheads and all that kind of stuff. But that's not remembering a person. No. That's remembering a face in a painting. It's not real. It's not an entity. It's an object.
And even that journal she writes, how she could, even if it's in her own words written, and you read them, you don't necessarily have memories or feelings associated with those words. So how that doesn't...
It's like reading a novel. Like, you were handed a novel, read this thing. And even with the video, like, they have to add pieces onto that video every day. So by the time they're married and have a 6-year-old, I don't know, the kid looked like she was 6. She was talking.
She's cute. She's cute.
And that video has to be like 6 hours long or something at that point in time.
No, it's exactly. Like, what happens when the kid's a teenager?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that child? That poor kid.
Yeah.
Like, I know you have stable dad and, like, grandpa's there, but to have a mother who doesn't remember you every morning.
Yeah. And have to remind them who you are.
That's exhausting and traumatic.
And also, she's a person who will forget your birthday every year.
Yeah.
Every year. She'll wake up and she's like, it's my dad's birthday. It's like, no, Mom, it's my birthday. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
And it does, the whole story, it's just the ethical issues surrounding
But also the fact that the father went, like, it's good that the father at least went along with her for that comfort, but at the same time, your father is older than you, A.
Yes.
B, he's gonna die before you. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's going to be a point in your life where you wake up, you don't recognize the person in that mirror because you've aged. Nobody knows you. Nobody who you know is around.
In reality, she would not. She would live in a hospital.
She would have to, you know.
The behavioral issues that stem from that confusion.
Yeah. Every single day. And she would not, like, she would be around somebody who is used to handling her. But would not be around somebody who can actually understand her and actually try to help her, you know? And so, and that's the same thing too. I remember the first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that movie's really cute. And they're doing the little Hawaiian music and stuff, and little Rob Schneider's little kids and everything.
It's a beautiful place.
Movie. It's a beautiful place. It's sort of a sweet story. It's like... It's like people talking about Romeo and Juliet. They're like, oh, it's a story about love and blah, blah, blah. It's 2 teenagers. They've known each other for 2 days, and then they kill themselves.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of story. When you actually look at the story,
when you think about it, and you're like...
think about it.
What?
Yeah. You don't get blindsided by, like, the concept or the romance of it. Yeah. You actually think about or you understand the actual story.
Yeah.
And, you know, because people think about this movie like, imagine making somebody fall in love with you every day.
Oh, exhausting.
It's so beautiful.
It's exhausting.
I wouldn't be surprised if they got divorced at some point in time because he was like, I'm so sick of doing this, and just leaves, you know.
Except there's a kid.
Except there's a kid. Take the kid with you.
Well, he'd have to. There'd be no way because he's that constant in that child's life. He has to be. Like, it's not going to work. But, when you start to really think about the real issues in this movie, you're like, no, I can't enjoy myself. Because I, when I first watched this movie, I was like, oh, it's so cute. Oh, I want a penguin and I want to live in Hawaii. But then you're like, oh.
Well, it's true. Like, I found myself overthinking every scene. Like, there were parts that made me chuckle. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
But then 2 seconds later, they do something. I'm like, oh my God, but she's blah, blah, blah. And, you know.
I think for some of the jokes, 2004 was it not that long ago? Was it 14 years ago?
14 years ago. That's a teenager's lifetime.
Some of these jokes, I'm like, I'm surprised they made the 2004. But then I'm not really surprised. I don't know. I definitely think this movie getting made had to do with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
At that point in time, they were, like, especially Adam Sandler, he was close. He was comedy gold at that point in time still, right? And I actually think...
Is that before he made... What was that?
Jack and Jill. Yes, it was.
God.
Yeah. I'm not even. But I think, like, I think at least, that's around the time where his comedy career started going downhill. Like, like, there's still something funny in this movie. You can still get through the movie. It's still acceptable
if you don't look
if you don't
too deep, and I think right now in the atmosphere we're in, maybe I'm not a little sensitive, but we're just more aware of stuff like that just because of what we've been inundated with. I can see how people could enjoy it.
Yes.
To a certain extent.
Yes.
I definitely, if we compare it with 40-Year-Old Virgin, and they're not comparable because 40-Year-Old Virgin is comic gold.
Yes.
And it's gonna, I think in 10 more years still be more relatable and just as funny. and the older or the more time goes by, I think 50 First Dates just becomes
sadder to watch. Yeah. But I think it just has to do with age and perspective as well.
Of course. And exactly. Yeah. It's like I said, it's been over a decade since I've watched them, and so I'm definitely obviously different. And
yeah, but like you said, most like younger people I find, or people who are just in it for the romance, are going to see the romance in the movie, and they'll be like, that's so sweet, look what he's done to, oh my god, he got himself tied up in the road to pick her up, and
someone that would try to make love every day.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Or are we talking about basic
16-year-olds? Yeah, I think so. But like I said, as soon as you get older and you watch this movie more than once, then all of a sudden you're just like, but she doesn't know him. He took her to Alaska and had a kid with her.
She's on a boat.
She's on a boat. Even if she wanted to run away, even if she wanted to talk to somebody else, she could not do that. You know? Which I think, so he's living out his dream.
And she's what?
And she's along for a weird, uncomfortable, spooky, creepy, unfulfilling ride. Like, what is...
Yeah.
You know, she can't even go out and pick her pineapple anymore. What are you supposed to do? This is the real question.
By the way, that father's determination, like, he had a freezer full of frozen pineapples.
Yeah.
And those papers, that stuff would run out eventually, like the papers.
Well, yeah.
This was a year, though, I think, into the accident.
I think so.
Because they said last year at this time,
yes,
she got in the accident. So it had only been a year. I'm wondering if they didn't kind of wake up and realize, if it wasn't for Adam Sandler coming in there and being like, guys...
But my question is, wait, why did he have to print the newspapers? Like, why couldn't they just put out the same newspaper every day?
I guess it would get worn, because she takes it probably to... Does she take it to the restaurant and, like, read it and do whatever she does? I don't know. Maybe. I didn't really pay much attention, but it would start to rip and look dirty. I guess it had to look new every morning.
That's true. Yeah, it'd have to be nice and clean. And
what a waste.
You could press it or something. Use like an iron.
I kind of felt, though they did it to themselves, I felt bad for the father and the brother. Could you imagine, like, what kind of life? You celebrate your birthday, you watch The Sixth Sense every day. Yeah. It's a great movie, but every day.
And the same football game, the same cake, the same dinner.
Everything, painting that wall. Like, I'm like, really, is it not just easier, like, have her live in, like, a group home for people with...
But also, my thing is at that point, they can't have jobs, right? They have to be there.
How do they pay the bills?
Yeah, and he used to be a fisherman. Based on her, so she was a fisherman. Yeah. They'd go out on a boat for days and days and days, and then they'd come back and she'd sniff his fingers. Fine. But, like...
Sorry. But you said that and I'm just like, oh, yeah. Oh, gross. She'd sniff his fingers?
That sounds weird, I know. But technically, that was her story, you know? But they can't do that anymore, because if she wakes up and nobody's there...
So how do you pay the bills? Hawaii is a very expensive place.
But maybe they're getting some sort of disability fund or something.
Maybe she's getting money and they're using it to kind of keep up the lie.
Maybe.
Because God knows what the brother does.
Yeah, he works there
and takes steroids.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Roided up.
And go to too many tanning booths, you know. He was turning orange, for Christ's sake.
God.
But yeah, like, the more you pay attention to this movie, the more you actually... I know it's not a movie you're supposed to think about.
But you end up doing that because you're just horrified.
Yeah. And especially if you watch this movie more than, say, twice, then all of a sudden the whole thing falls apart.
You can't.
The first time you watch it, you're like, it's cute.
Exactly.
The second time you watch it, you're like, yeah, but wouldn't that be, huh? The third time you're watching it, you're just, like, analyzing everything. Yes. And you can't enjoy the movie.
No.
Sure, there's some slapstick. Yeah. I liked Rob Schneider's little kids who did everything perfect.
Well, they're cute.
They're adorable.
Yeah. They're kids. How could they really do too much wrong? Like,
exactly.
Just by jumping into the ocean. You're cute.
But, like, everything else about it, like, the secondary characters and all that kind of stuff, they all seem to be making these horrible decisions to, quote-unquote, protect her. Yeah. But no.
She has no autonomy.
No.
Legitimately none.
No.
If you...
And people are technically, like,
keeping her in a cage. They all would have had to be in on it. Anybody who knew it, anybody in that restaurant, probably a bunch of them are regulars, they all...
No, in the restaurant, no. Because the restaurant is a place that is different every day. And she would have...
because she would have remembered that restaurant. She went every Sunday, and it was a Sunday in the film. So every Sunday she went. I'm like, what happens if one day that restaurant's not there?
Oh my God, yes.
It's only been a year. There was no long-term, like, we have no idea what would have happened in 5 years. It no longer exists.
What if they put up a new building? What if, they change a route to somewhere?
This is thinking too much into it. Seriously, when you start thinking too much, you're like, I didn't think this would come out of me watching this again, and I was just like...
But I think that's the downfall of this movie. It's that it's not rewatchable because of all of the huge gaping issues in the overall movie.
It doesn't last. It doesn't stand the test of time. It's not a classic. And I don't think they thought they were making a classic either. I mean, it's not a horrific movie, and it's funny in certain parts. And I certainly enjoyed it when I was younger, when it first came out. I wouldn't watch it again.
No, it's not. I mean, not watch it again is probably a strong word, but it's one of those movies that, if it's on TV, I won't actively watch it.
No. And see, I don't have cable. Which
so
is probably why I haven't seen either of these movies in a very long time, because I would have to seek them out. Yeah. And I'm not. I mean, I will maybe in the future seek out 40-Year-Old Virgin now that I remember how good it is, but I won't seek out 50 First Dates. No. And I actually quite like Drew Barrymore, and I like Adam Sandler's older stuff. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think their chemistry within the movie is really good, like together.
Well, The Wedding Singer is a classic.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
No, it's fantastic. Yes. So, and I think that's what they were banking on. Like when they put these two together for a romantic comedy, they were banking on people going to see it.
Yeah. Don't see Blended. Don't.
What's that one?
That was the one that came out a few years ago. That's Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore. Don't.
Oh, they had a third?
Yeah, it's not good.
I will probably never go to a theater to watch movies he's in. I shouldn't say never, but maybe this one was one of the last ones that I saw in theater. Because he's usually in comedies, and a lot of times I can watch those at home. Yeah. Or maybe a drive-in in the summer if it was like a double feature.
Well, that's the thing I find with like comedies, and actually a lot of Oscar-nominated dramas in general. The reason why I don't see a lot of them in the theater is because I'm like, there's no need to see them in the theater. Like, it's not a problem to pay for them. I pay for cable. I pay for Netflix. Yeah. I buy DVDs. It's not like I'm not taking money out of the industry. That's not what I'm doing.
But certain things are unnecessary to see them
in theater. Yeah, like I tend to see blockbuster movies in the theater simply because the whole point of it is that it's big. It's larger than life.
You need to. Actually, funny enough, you say that. I have never seen Avatar because I missed it in theater, and I just don't see the point of seeing it outside of the theater.
There's no point watching it. It's really not that good.
That's what I heard. My brother said it was like, when he went to see it in theater, he was like, oh, it was so cool. But then I missed that opportunity. I was like, and then I heard it was like, well, don't watch it at home. It's pointless.
But it is one of those movies where it's so dependent on the largeness of the environment, because there's so many shots of them just swooping through, these places and all this kind of stuff. And the only scene that they used 3D right was when they did there's a scene with floating islands, and they go through it. That scene was done beautifully, okay? But you would miss half the impact of the movie not seeing it on something large, because that's the whole point of the movie. That's the whole point. But like a comedy or like a drama or something where people are just talking to each other all the time, I rarely pay to see those movies in theaters, because I'm like, why? Like, it's two people talking. They could be talking on a small screen, they could be talking on a big screen. Exactly. If the angles are right and it's edited together right, I'll still get all the emotion. It's still really cool.
You can do that.
Oh my God, I can do that at home.
Pleasure of your own home.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And that's the only time I ever go to the movies is for like comic book movies or big blockbusters.
Yeah.
That's really it.
That's 90% of my time. The loud booms, and you want to see the explosions and the building and the effects and the
it's an experience.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely I definitely agree with you on that aspect of it, for sure. Yeah. So, I guess, thumbs down, 50 First Dates. Yeah. Thumbs up, 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yes.
That's what we're going to go with?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you could maybe say, I don't know, 50 First Dates could be like thumbs sideways, kind of down.
Yeah.
Watch it if you want some, like, surface level laughs, but it's not...
Okay, it's if you've never seen it before, sure, give it a try. Yeah. Should you rewatch it? It's not necessary.
And again, Rob Schneider, some of the stuff he says, I just wanted to smack him in the face. What was it, like, po-po, like, all of the different, like, making fun of the Hawaiian... Mm-hmm. I was just like, oh, God, buddy. I feel like this way about Rob Schneider often. So this is not the only movie where I'm just like, I kind of just go, oh, you're exhausting. He does the same thing he does the same thing in every Adam Sandler movie. Well, yes. For the most part. He's
except for, you can do it. Well, it's great. Great.
No. There are classic Rob Schneider moments, but for the most part, I'm just like, you're obnoxious and I need you to please go away. Go away. Keep your kids. We'll keep your kids.
Yes, the kids are adorable.
You can go get bit by a shark. Pow pow. I don't know half the things he was saying. I didn't understand. I'm sure they were crude. I didn't understand.
I don't think anything he was saying was of quality, and there's no necessity in trying to find out what it was. No.
But it wasn't a crude movie, so I guess if your humor is just kind of you're okay, you can.
That's true. It's not crude. It's definitely not as crude as 40-Year-Old Virgin is.
Oh no! I mean, the crudest person is Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
His scenes, really. And I mean, when you get into like the Alexa stuff, if you're fairly sensitive to, you know, the transphobia and whatnot, then those two parts I think are probably the most offensive.
Yeah.
If you ignore the overarching horrific storyline of her amnesia
and going to the mental institute and 10 second Steve.
Actually, he's kind of funny. That actor, he's in a lot of stuff as well with Adam Sandler. He's one of those ones who shows up. I don't even know his name.
Yeah, he was in, like, he actually did one that was produced by Adam Sandler that had, like, a whole bunch of, Grandma's Boy. He was, like, the lead in it.
He was.
I have no idea what that guy's real name is, either.
Do we need to?
No, probably
he's
not.
He's one of those, like, I don't know what he does. I mean, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
That, I actually kind of like 10 Seconds Steve. It was actually kind of funny. Because I've actually been in an institution I visited someone. And there was a similar person to that. Oh, and they were very well-meaning, but they really kept coming up to shake my hand and introduce themselves. And that, he was obviously a funnier version, but that reminds me of that time, which people like that do exist.
It's sad, but it's slightly amusing every once in a while. No, maybe I shouldn't have said that. That's not something I should have said. No.
You're being honest.
I am being honest.
Don't be too sensitive.
But it's kind of, it's like one of those things where, like, you see somebody fall and you're just like, I should help
someone gets a crotch shot, you're just like, But, like, it's horrifying. I wouldn't want to be hitting the crotch, but
exactly, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I shouldn't laugh, but you're kind of laughing.
You're gonna, because there are two types of people in the world. You get kicked in the crotch and people are like, oh my God! And then there's the other person who's like, bitch, that hurt, didn't it? That hurt.
As long as they're okay, I'm probably the person laughing.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I think that's one of the reasons why, like, all those, like, fail videos and stuff online are so popular. But my problem with a lot of those fail videos is that I'm like, that person is dead. It's not funny anymore.
It's not funny when it's
not
real.
Funny anymore.
Yeah, when it's, like, action, when I'm like, did they just get decapitated? Like, that looks horrifying. Like, they definitely have brain damage.
Or they have, like, the guys skateboarding and, like, their leg is pointing the wrong way. And you're just like, no, these aren't funny. And people are just like, that's hilarious. Oh, you are psychotic.
They're sitting in their parents' basement eating too many Cheetos and haven't baked in a week.
Exactly.
That's what I just assume most of the internet. I mean, well, I shouldn't, though, because probably a lot of people are normal, I guess, average human beings that get to be anonymous and become cruel.
Well, that's what the anonymity of the internet makes people, the bad side of people come out.
People are horrific.
Yeah. But, anyways, I guess maybe we should end on that, happy note. After talking so in-depthly about all this comedy.
See 40-Year-Old Virgin. If you can handle crude.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
It's a solidly funny movie.
It's not the starting, but it's when Steve Carell really shot to fame.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, that was his first main, like, film, right?
Yeah. He was in Burgundy, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
I Love Lamp, yes.
Yeah, so he had a few small roles, and I think he was just beginning
The Office.
The Office.
And he was already on The Daily Show, and he had just quit that.
But he wasn't like a household name.
No,
that movie
brought him to the forefront for sure.
And then anybody who was a Freaks and Geeks fan, you saw everyone else, and then of course, then you see like Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen and Judd. That's really the beginning of Judd Apatow's like also household name.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot of these people who you've seen before if you're into that genre, but they really shine here, and this is the starting of many of their like mega status.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
for sure.
There's always a point where it is clear that this is where people became stars,
and this
is one of those things. And I also think this is one of the movies that like Paul Rudd's been around for a very long time, but there was definitely a lull in his career for a little while, and I think this is the point where it started going back up again. Yeah, you know, because I personally I remembered him from what was it? Clueless.
The brother.
You know, as the brother, which was
brother.
That's a
whole different story. That's a different. Do you own that one?
Yes, I do.
Fantastic. It's a whole different episode
story.
Talking about the weirdness of that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't I know he had been in a couple of things and was showing up randomly in places, but this is the point where I find he started continuously showing up in things, and his roles got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Because he's fantastic.
Because he's fantastic. He doesn't age, and he's hilarious. That's what happens. Anyways, but yeah, thank you so much, Jess, for coming and talking to me about some comedy and fun movies this afternoon. You know, I'm sitting here sweating.
I'm also
sweating.
I can,
yes.
feeling myself. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely. Their boob sweat.
Yeah. I do not want cold weather to come back, but when cold weather comes back, this will not be a thing anymore, this whole sweating business. But it's okay. We still had a good time.
I'm still glad I watched both movies.
Yes. So now you know. You're like, this is a keeper. This can go away.
Exactly. It's good to revisit some movies.
Yes. I agree. Yeah. See what ages well, who's who. And one thing I like about rewatching older movies is just like, oh yeah, that guy's in it. He's hilarious. And then it takes you down another completely different.
Seek out that person's stuff.
Or you never somebody who's famous now who wasn't famous then you realize they're there and you're like, that guy's in this movie? That's amazing.
This is before they were famous. Yeah. Exactly.
It's good. Well, like I said, thank you very much, and of course maybe one day you'll come back and talk some more movies with me.
Fans, yeah.
Yes.
Peace out.
Peace out, yes. So that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. You can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. Next time, we'll be talking about 500 Days of Summer and A Scanner Darkly. Hope you'll be here to listen.